session for the City of Granbury will now come to order at 6 p.m. on Monday, April the 10th, 2023, Granbury City Hall, City Council Chambers. The first order of business this tonight is we don't have any public comments on agenda items that are non-public. Everything we have is public hearing, so we'll be skipping over that tonight. The consent agenda, C1, approval of the regular meeting minutes from March the 13th, 2023, with the clerical changes that we were given to staff earlier today, or earlier this week.
Motion to approve minutes of last meeting.
A motion by Mr. Erdman to approve the minutes as presented. With
Second.
Second by Mr. Haves. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The first public hearing tonight is D1, final plat of a 24.949 acre tract of the Joshua Minette Survey, abstract number 445 as lots 22 to 25 in Common Area E, Block 10, Lots 1 through 51, and Common Area F, Block 11, Lots 1 through 6, Block 12, Lots 16 through 32, Block 13, and Common Area G, Block 20 of the Saratoga Phase 2B addition. The property is located at the intersection of Saratoga Boulevard and East Highway 377. This is PL-2022-02. Kira?
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
As stated, this is a continuation of the Saratoga development. The site is outlined in teal on your screen there. It's about 24 acres in overall size and zoned R7 for single-family development, of which they're proposing 78 lots. This slide shows the zoning. So you see the yellow represents the R7 zoning. The green is interim holding to the east. So much of the area that's already zoned for zoning in a permanent fashion is R7 in the surrounding area. And the plat is conforming to that R7 zoning. The final plat sheets are separated, and so this shows the northern portion of the final plat, the kind of central or southern portion with Hurricane Fly there, that street to the south that kind of runs diagonal east-west on your screen. I'm going to back up. I wanted to point out there have been some park dedication, that's by separate easement, but coming in also, or by separate dedication, I should say, that's there on both sides of the Preakness Drive street that extends to the north or up on the map. Back to Hurricane Fly. With this plat on the next slide, we see Hurricane Fly extending from the south reaches of Saratoga all the way to Fall Creek, and there's a northward extension which is DeGroat Street, and those are also part of this proposal. So that will add to the access to the overall plat and connect the property with the required connections all the way through Fall Creek all the way over to 377. And these are just the other sheets of the plat. Yeah, plat application. The amended preliminary plat was approved in 2021, and the project has been active all the way through, so that preliminary plat continues. And the final plat today is for Phase 2B. There's an additional 2 phases, Phase 3 and 4, yet pending for the project. We have service delivery impacts. The drainage has been reviewed and approved. The wastewater and water service is available, domestic water and sewer by City of Granbury. And the transportation, I've explained the Hurricane Fly and DeGroat Lane. Electrical is United Cooperative Service, and the park's an open space. There's park dedication according to the dedication plan. The voting options for your final plat is to approve or deny, and staff is recommending approval as the final plat substantially conforms to the approved amended preliminary plat. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Carol. I'll open the public hearing, and the applicant's representative is here for questions. Would you like to come up? You're welcome to.
Chair, Commissioners, good evening. My name is Joe Roy with Barrett Hampton Brown Engineering. We're here on behalf of the developer. Ms. Kira did a fantastic job with the synopsis, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for the applicant's representative? Any questions for staff? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on the final plat request, please.
Chair, I'll move for approval as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Hayes to approve the final plat as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Moore. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on agenda is D2, a public hearing to consider the request of Linda Jordan for a Pacific use permit to allow short-term rental STR residential unhosted in a residential 8400 R 8.4 zoning district. The property's address is 322 West Bridge Street, SUP 2023-10. Kira?
Thank you. Chair Kay, it appears we do not have the applicant here with us, so at the end of the presentation, we could address that. So we'll give an overview of the site location. The site is located here on Travis and Bridge Street. The property is zoned R 8.4 as well as HPO historic, and in 2019 it was granted a 3-year short-term rental SUP with 2 bedrooms. And this request also continues that 2-bedroom status with an unhosted short-term rental. This is your zoning map showing the underlying zoning districts. The yellow is the 8.4 districts, so you can see the compatible zoning there. There is R12 to the southwest of the site in that kind of tannish color, and also to the south is light commercial zoning with existing single-family residential surrounding the site. There, to the distance, there is some commercial developed properties. This is the context map. We've typically provided a 600-foot buffer map so you can see the nearby short-term rentals in the area. So those short-term rentals nearby are shown in pink. This is the site plan that was submitted showing the house as well as accessory buildings. The short-term rental will be conducted in the house, which is the larger building on the lower right of the drawing. The applicant has indicated that the other buildings will not be used for short-term rental purposes. The Travis Street is on the left side of the site, and towards the back of the property where those little bushes are shown in kind of circles or surrounding the parking lot, there's enough parking for the short-term rental. There's 2 parking spaces back there. And this is the floor plan for the site. There are 2 bedrooms, and the first floor is on the left side. Those are livable spaces, not bedrooms. The bedrooms are on the second floor. There's a picture of the property from Bridge Street. Application. This is your site SUP criteria for specific use permits. The first criteria is the proposed use harmonious and compatible with the surrounding area. Based on the information presented and that the location of the site is in a historic district, that it appears that the use will be compatible as long as they adhere with conditions and the standards set out in the city code and the zoning ordinance. Are the activities normally associated with the requested use? The applicant submitted application that appears to indicate that the activities would be normally associated with the short-term rental. Is the nature of the use reasonable? The site, again, is in the HPO area, Historic Preservation Overlay, which is designated as appropriate for the use. And then are such measures taken that will secure and protect the public health, safety, and general welfare? The 2 parking spaces are available, and that complies with 2 off-street parking spaces as required, 1 parking space per bedroom. And these are further criteria. In summary, some of these do repeat, and it appears that the use can be made compatible and will be compatible with the surrounding area. Let's see. The staff is recommending with our conditions I'm going to back up one slide, that the landscaping be included as a condition at the parking, just to shield the parking headlight sweep, which is one of our normal conditions. If it's not screened, it needs to be screened. Regarding public notice, on March 29th, staff mailed out 24 public notices to property owners within 200 feet and on the municipal tax roll, and also published on March 25th in the Hood County News as required by law and zoning ordinance. And we have received one letter in favor of the proposal and no letters in opposition to the request. Staff is recommending with these conditions a one-year term from City Council date, subject to a site plan and the floor plan, that there be no more than 2 bedrooms, and landscaping be installed to screen the headlight sweep at the parking area. The other 3 conditions are standard conditions subject to the compliance with supplemental standards of the zoning ordinance. There are permits required, periodic inspections and inspection fees, and any violation could be subject to terms and conditions in the zoning ordinance and or city code. And these are your voting options for this application. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. Is the applicant here? And if so, would you like to speak? No applicant? You said no.
I'm here for my colleague Carrie Servant, if that's the applicant, but she has to be finished about 5 minutes behind. That's the next. I'm sorry, you're fine.
Okay. Well, I saw her come in, so I wasn't sure. Okay. So we don't have applicant. So that's okay. Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Any questions for city staff? If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on the SUP request.
Chair, I'll move to approve as presented.
I have a motion to approve by Mr. Hayes as presented.
Second.
Second by Mr. Overdeer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is D3, a public hearing to consider the request of Connie Ross and Carrie Sturdivant for a specific use permit to allow a short-term rental STR residential unhosted in a residential 7,000 R7 zoning district. The property's address is 216 South Travis Street, and this is SUP 2023-09. Kira?
Thank you. Again, this is your location slide. The site is outlined in teal on Travis Street and is zoned R7, Historic Preservation Overlay. The proposal is for a short-term rental with 2 bedrooms as stated and unhosted. This is the zoning map. Again, the yellow on this map represents the R7 district. And there's also R10 zoning. The color doesn't quite show up there on your screen, but south of Doyle is R10 zoning. All of that is single-family residential zoning, those yellow colors. The pink color to the northwest of the subject site there is a telephone or utility company building and is zoned for business commercial purposes. Again, this is your 600-foot buffer that shows in pink, and I guess we added in some black colors there too. But those are outlined to demonstrate the location of other bed and breakfasts in this area that have been approved in the past. This is a site plan that shows the improvements on the site. The driveway is located onto South Travis Street there at the northeast corner of the site and extends back into the property to the garage, and the house sits south of the driveway. There's an accessory building in the back. The short-term rental unhosted would occur in the single-family dwelling and not in the accessory buildings. The driveway is large enough to accommodate 2 parking spaces without it being considered tandem parking. And the next slide shows, maybe it's, thought we had one in there. Anyways, we have a drawing that demonstrates that for us, that the width is enough. And that is the exhibit right there. There's the garage. It's a little bit hard to see. I apologize for that. We might have to darken that up for our next meeting. But it's a 32-foot wide area in front of the garage, so that will accommodate 2 cars. This, again, is a little bit light for appearances. We'll have to work on that. But on the floor plan here, it shows 2 bedrooms, and other rooms in the building would be for other living uses, such as a living room, kitchen, and so on. This is a photograph of the site from the street. Application. Similar to the other application that was presented this evening, these are your SUP criteria. The use can be demonstrated to be harmonious and compatible with the surrounding area. The activities that are presented with the application are normally associated with the requested use. The use appears to be reasonable, and the parking will be complied with. These are statements also of criteria similar to those prior and other sections of the code. We sent public notice by mail on March 29th to 9 property owners, and we also published in the Hood County News, and we have no letters received in favor and 2 letters received in opposition to the request. Staff is recommending approval of the proposal with a 1-year term, subject to the site plan and the floor plan, no more than 2 bedrooms, and the last 3 conditions are the standard conditions. These are your voting options, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Kira. I'll open the public hearing, and the applicant has now arrived. Would you like to speak? Okay. Does any commission members have questions for the applicant? If so, I'll ask her forward. Okay, would you please come to the podium? Please state your name and address, please.
Hello, my name's Carrie Sturdivant, and I live at 3605 Marks Place in Plano, Texas.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
Okay, yes, ma'am. I show here you live in Bowie, is that right?
My mother.
That's your mother?
Yes,
so
sir.
You live here in town?
I live in Plano.
Oh, in Plano?
Texas. Yes,
okay.
just north
Who's
of
going to be the property contact on this property?
Millie Bourret is my contact, and also I have my friend Sonia Rodrigue, who's also here to be my property contact.
Okay, who's going to maintain the property?
I will.
You're going to drive from Plano every week to maintain it?
No, I'm sorry. I have hired a landscape. I will be managing landscape and housekeeping, and I will also be coming in frequently because I actually like being here and plan to use the house as well for myself.
If there's a problem, you're saying Millie's going to be your contact, so she would be able to get out there and solve the situation?
Within the 2-hour, hour-and-a-half requirement, I will be here within an hour and a half to 2 hours, but she will be here within 45 minutes, I think. You need her.
Have you had any experience in managing one of these before?
You know, my family manages a bunch of these down in the hill country. They've been doing them for 30 years, and they love it, and I have a big wealth of resources to pull from, and this is going to be my first short term. I've traditionally been in more like longer term investments, so I just left my job to do this. I'm looking forward to it. So,
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicant? If not, thank you, Ms. Sturdivant.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for staff? If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on the SUP request, please.
Chair, I'll move to approve as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Haves to approve as presented. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Class. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.